So on top of the natural inclination for the American public to not really give a crap about these things, we also have a news media that is either biased in some instances or really, in many instances, just woefully ignorant. The shocking part is not the level of the ignorance. The shocking part is the existence of the ignorance in a way that I think would surprise people. I mean, incompetence is more often than not the answer to, the question of like stupid or evil. It's more often than not, it's stupid. It's ignorance. Which is shocking in and of itself. And I can tell you, as somebody who came from a different profession, to come into this and, which I don't even perceive to be, we do journalism here, but it's, this is, some form of infotainment. I was shocked to understand the level of historical and contextual knowledge that people who work in the news media, not all, but a lot.
Yeah.
Here is MSNBC correspondent Matt Bradley, really probably an NBC correspondent, on with MSNBC's Alex Witt. And this is, play the
So we are covering all of the angles of this story with reports from Israel and analysis here stateside. Let's go first to NBC's Matt Bradley joining us from Tel Aviv. Matt, welcome. What is this situation like in Rafah right now? How do you see it?
Well, there's a lot of fear, but there's also a lot of starvation, a lot of homelessness, people living in tents. We're talking about 1.4 million Palestinians who are living on the edge of the Gaza Strip, right where Gaza meets Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. They are about to be pushed, or many of them fear they're about to be pushed from the Gaza Strip into the Sinai Desert. And this is why when you talk to Palestinians there, they keep up bringing this one word, the Nakba. That means catastrophe. And that happened all the way back in 1948. That's the Arabic word for when the Israeli state was created, and Palestinians feel, and this history is still debated, Palestinians feel as though they were forced from their homes. And that is exactly what they think is happening right now, because the Israelis, as you mentioned, Benjamin Netanyahu, he has said that he wants his military to explore or draw up a plan for a evacuation of civilians from Rafah.
Okay, all right. Play that part again, because none of that is debated. The idea that Palestinians just decided to leave. There is no one who has done an hour and a half of reading, watched just a couple of interviews, an interview with a historian. This is not debated. This is not debated by any, I can understand if you're at a bar and you're sitting next to some dude and they turn to you and go it's sort of controversial about whether or not Palestinians, if they were forced to leave. Just, contemplate, just even as the words come out of your mouth, you start to realize, wait a second, why would someone just voluntarily leave their homes that they've been living in? But you could expect that from some dude who's just sitting next to you at a bar, half in the bag. But this is a reporter. He's in Tel Aviv, but he's really making a point too of saying, it's debated. Really? Well, you're a reporter. You're in Tel Aviv. You're covering this. How about you take a half an hour and see how much actual debate there is by scholars, by people like historians. And if you choose not to do that, or you've done it and you're still making the point of the debate, then we get into the evil, stupid type of question. But play this again.
Or many of them fear they're about to be pushed from the Gaza Strip into the Sinai Desert. And this is why when you talk to Palestinians there, they keep up bringing this one word, the Nakba. That means catastrophe. And that happened all the way back in 1948. That's the Arabic word for when the Israeli
Pause it for 1 second.
was...
Also, just imagine if someone said, the Holocaust. And that happened all the way back in 1945, 1944. I mean, just like people will be offended all the way back. You're talking about this like it's like, you know, like second century AD. It's just absurd. All the way back. All right, keep playing.
In fear, they're about to be pushed from the Gaza Strip into the Sinai Desert. And this is why when you talk to Palestinians there, they keep up bringing this one word, the Nakba. That means catastrophe. And that happened all the way back in 1948. That's the Arabic word for when the Israeli state was created. And Palestinians feel, and this history is still debated, Palestinians feel as though they were forced from their homes. And that is exactly what they think is happening right now.
Pause.
Because the Israelis...
And it's just not being debated. It's just not being debated. I mean, is it debated? Did we really push the Native Americans, Indians in this country from the land? I mean, did we?
Well, the tough thing is like, yeah, I mean, you get why a normal person would think these things, because as the sort of general propaganda, well, that's what I'm pointing. My point is like, if this dude is sitting next to me in a bar and he says, you know, it's still debated, I'd be like, oh, well, what did you do? Did you watch MSNBC this weekend? Yeah. That's why you think it's still debated. But this guy's sitting in Tel Aviv and he's reporting on it and he's saying Nakba. And he thinks like he's really pushing the envelope here. And, you know, I saw this clip and I noticed that he follows me. And I was thinking maybe
this dude?
Yeah, this dude follows me. And it was maybe like some young reporter, and he graduated Duke with an English Lit degree in 2004. So he's been, you know, working with the State Department, working with the Wall Street Journal. There's no excuse not to have done this research, but you can get through reporting without having grappled with history in any sort of real way.
I mean, look, I don't like to try and guess what's going on in somebody's head, right? But I find it hard to believe if you're going to make the point of like it's debated. I'm quite convinced this guy thinks he's going out on a ledge by even saying the words Nakba and telling this story, but has to feel like he has to protect himself by saying, like, yeah, it's iffy.
Right.
It's iffy. Some people say,
because he got another crack at it. I looked at his Twitter page and he retweeted like, here is somebody saying retweeting his segment saying, here him talking about the Nakba correctly. So maybe like him getting criticized by people like us gives reporters the license to speak honestly about these sorts of things now. I don't know, but he at least looks somewhat repentant for this.
Okay, that's good. I mean, good for him. And, you know, I imagine Alex Witt also probably knows the history a little bit. You should.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to talk to a correspondent from Israel. I'm going to spend, you know what? I'm going to spend an hour this week and just, I don't know, read Wikipedia.
I mean, if you look at the images, books on the Nakba, the expulsion of people and how they're carrying their belongings in long lines, it looks identical to what we're seeing now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know if I can. Galaxy. The Palestinians just basically say the Nakba was bad vibes. But that's debatable because the Israelis thought it was good vibes. So, you know.
Got to hear both sides.
I mean, at least the guy is repentant. And my point is less that, like, this guy, Matt Bradley, is a bad guy. The point is, this is, like, what we're getting in terms of propaganda.
Right.
Like when Thayer Ahmed, who was just on the show, said Jordan is airdropping supplies to Palestinians, that the French are bringing in boats, you know, flotillas, essentially. Like, it sounds like rafts. And I say it sounds like because I haven't been aware of any of this. And I read the coverage from the New York Times. I read the coverage from the Washington Post. I read Haaretz. I read I mean, I read a lot on a daily basis, more than your average person probably on a daily basis about this, and nothing. Now, I don't read European newspapers, but part of the reason why we don't get that information is because it begs the question, hey, wait a second. Why can't we do that? What was the fun clip that you had?